If you're a veteran holding Iraqi dinar, I want you to stop for a moment and reset your perspective. The conversation around Iraq's currency is changing, and it's no longer being driven solely by chat room rumors, weekend hype, or anonymous intel posts. Something more substantial is unfolding beneath the surface. And for those of you who serve this country, who understand patience, discipline, and chain of command, this shift should matter. For years, dinar holders have been conditioned to chase dates. One headline, one speech, one rumor would light up the community, only to fade by Monday morning. That cycle created emotional highs and lows that left many people exhausted. But real financial change does not happen that way. Currencies do not transform because of internet excitement. They change because systems are rebuilt, policies are enforced, banks are restructured, and governments align with international standards. That is where the focus is now. The real story is not about a sudden announcement. It is about whether Iraq has been building the institutional foundation required to support a stronger, more credible currency. And when you step back and look at the pattern instead of the noise, you can see that this conversation has matured. The most critical area to watch is Iraq's banking system, not speeches, not rumors, the system itself. A currency is only as strong as the institutions backing it. If the banking framework is weak, inconsistent, or vulnerable to corruption, the currency remains fragile. But if oversight improves, compliance tightens, reporting standards rise, and international cooperation increases, the structure becomes more believable. Banking reform is not flashy. It is technical, slow, and often invisible to the average person. But it is the backbone of any serious currency shift. Iraq has been under pressure for years to modernize its financial system, strengthen anti-money laundering controls, improve transparency, and align more closely with global banking standards. Those reforms are not rumors. They are documented processes that take time to implement. For veterans watching this channel, here's the key distinction. The old cycle was emotional. The current phase is structural. Instead of asking, is it happening this weekend? The better question is, are the pieces being put in place to support it when it does happen? That is a far more disciplined way to evaluate progress. Leadership changes at the Central Bank of Iraq also matter. When a new governor steps in, the question isn't whether they will magically flip a switch. The real question is whether they will continue implementing reforms already underway. Continuity signals stability. Stability builds confidence, and confidence is the oxygen of any currency. A new leader who reinforces compliance standards, strengthens oversight, and pushes institutional reforms forward is not a small detail. It is a sign that the process is still alive. It does not guarantee a date, but it confirms direction. And direction is what serious observers track. Trust is everything in currency markets. A currency does not gain credibility because people hope it will. It gains credibility when investors, institutions, and trading partners believe the system behind it is reliable. That reliability comes from consistent policy, cleaner audits, stronger regulation, and reduced corruption risk. Remove those elements, and the currency remains speculative. Strengthen them, and the long-term outlook improves. The regional and geopolitical environment is another piece of the puzzle. Iraq does not operate in isolation. It sits in one of the most strategically sensitive regions in the world. Political stability, regional cooperation, and economic partnerships all influence how international markets perceive Iraq. When Iraq is treated less like a high-risk environment and more like a developing economic partner, that changes capital flows, investor behavior, and long-term expectations. Energy policy also connects directly to currency credibility. Iraq's oil wealth is significant, but oil alone is not enough. Sustainable currency strength requires diversified revenue streams, modern infrastructure, reliable export systems, and transparent management of national resources. When Iraq works to improve energy logistics, attract outside investment, and expand infrastructure, that strengthens the economic base supporting its currency. These are not side stories. They are part of the foundation. Markets rarely wait for dramatic public announcements. Often, structural changes begin quietly. Governments move cautiously when financial stakes are high. The absence of a loud declaration does not mean nothing is happening. Sometimes it means the groundwork is still being laid carefully. For long-term holders, especially veterans who understand operational timing, this is important. In military operations, preparation happens long before the public sees action. Logistics, coordination, leadership alignment, and system readiness come first. Financial transitions work the same way. The visible move is often the final step, not the first. Skepticism in this community is understandable. Many of you have watched false starts come and go. Experience has trained you to question bold claims. That skepticism is not weakness. It is discipline earned over time. But discipline also requires recognizing genuine structural progress when it appears. Right now, the broader pattern shows movement in reform, not stagnation. Implementation appears to be advancing beyond discussion. And implementation is the turning point in any reform process. Talking about change is easy. Enforcing it is difficult. When enforcement and application begin to take hold, the conversation shifts from speculation to evaluation. Timing remains the most difficult variable. Everyone wants a clear date. A date feels concrete. But currencies reward readiness, not impatience. The more relevant question is whether banking reform, political alignment, economic planning, leadership direction, and regional positioning are moving in the same direction. When multiple components align, the stage becomes more credible. That alignment appears stronger today than in past cycles dominated purely by rumor. For veterans holding Dinar, there is also an emotional component. Waiting is hard. You served your country. Many of you invested with hope for financial breathing room, security for your families, or resources to give back. Fatigue is real, but emotional exhaustion can make anyone vulnerable to hype. The smartest position right now is balanced vigilance, not blind optimism, not automatic dismissal. Watch the reforms, watch institutional behavior, watch policy consistency, watch how Iraq is treated internationally. Those signals carry more weight than any anonymous prediction. Public confidence inside Iraq matters too. A currency must function domestically before it can command respect globally. If citizens and businesses begin operating within a cleaner, more organized financial framework, that internal stability supports external credibility. Confidence grows from order and predictability. The larger takeaway is this. Iraq's currency story is evolving from rumor-driven chatter to structure-driven analysis. That is a significant change. It does not promise overnight results. It does not eliminate risk, but it moves the conversation into more serious territory. For the Dinar for Veterans community, the message is clear. Stay informed. Stay disciplined. Understand that structural reform is slow but meaningful. The loudest voices will continue chasing drama and dates. But real progress is found in systems, compliance, leadership continuity, energy development, and institutional strength. The story is not finished. It is still developing. But it is developing within a framework that deserves attention and respect. That is the difference between blind hope and informed patience. And informed patience is something veterans understand better than most. As we move forward, keep your focus on what is being built, not what is being shouted. Because when the foundation becomes strong enough, the visible change will follow. Until then, the smartest move is not panic, not hype, and not despair. It is steady observation, disciplined thinking, and readiness. That is the real update. That is the real shift. And that is why this moment matters.